First things first, a quick heads up before we start the episode. We're discussing Morrissey's book List of the Lost today.
Garbage human being.
That's fair. And we read out a couple of quotes specifically.
Because he's a garbage human being.
Elucidating that he's a garbage human being that contain pretty explicit references to sexual assault subject matter. If you find that upsetting, then this might be an episode to skip for you. But we have plenty of other fun episodes, so.
And hopefully, Morrissey will just die in a house fire.
Everybody good to go?
I mean...
Cool. I know. Hello, friends. Welcome to Brainworms, the podcast that takes literature, cuts it open, and reads its entrails to see what it's got going on in there.
Ooh, Paris bossy.
Exactly. I'm Joe.
I'm David.
I'm Kaine.
And I'm Chris.
And today we're going to be reading List of the Lost by Stephen Morrissey.
A title that has me intrigued.
Yeah, hold on to that. A popular singer-songwriter, initially made famous in the 80s with his band The Smiths, who later went on to be reasonably successful as a solo artist. Complicated politics, I think that's fair to say.
He's a garbage human being. He is absolutely a garbage human being.
He absolutely has, been openly supporting UKIP and is very anti-immigration. But he also, he was pro-Sanders when that was going on, and he's been an outspoken anti-monarchist his whole life, and he was very anti-Thatcher during that era.
Yeah, but isn't that mostly because Thatcher was a woman?
Possibly.
I don't know. I genuinely don't know.
Yeah, it didn't occur to me to even ponder that if that was the reason. Complicated politics, definitely pretty garbage, at least in recent years.
What I really think is surprising here is it is not a lie to say that Morrissey was probably the first vocalist that I really heard and said, oh my God, who is that person? I need to hear more of this.
Right.
And The Smiths was very profoundly effective and, just major influence on me as a younger man.
Mm-hmm.
And I've long admired his talent as a performer. I had no idea until a minute and a half ago that his first name was fucking Steven.
Really?
Yeah.
They turn it around and say, I was attacked. I was surprised. But if everything went well, and if it had given them a great career, they would not talk about it.
Listeners, if you have no idea what these old people are talking about, I'm with you too.
Yeah. The under 30s, unless you're also an isolated nerd, probably aren't going to know what the fuck is going on.
Well,
as far as I know, he was in a bedroom with a 14-year-old. Kevin Spacey was 26, boy 14. One wonders where the boy's parents were. One wonders if the boy did not know what would happen. I do not know about you, but in my youth, I've never been in situations like this. Never.
Which
I was always aware
him
of what
speak
could
about
happen.
it.
Morrissey
when you're in
said
somebody's
that?
bedroom, you have to be aware of what that can lead to. That's why it does not sound very credible to me. Seems to me that Spacey has been attacked unnecessarily. Fuck Morrissey.
Oh yeah, fuck Morrissey.
Fuck everything about him.
Yeah.
I hope that he catches on fire.
Uh-huh.
And in the process, all of the master recordings for everything he's ever produced go up in flames with him. And society as a whole forgets about Morrissey ever having existed.
Well, we're contributing to that not happening. So
That's fair.
I know.
I feel conflicted, Kaine. I feel like you have an opinion here, but I'm a little unsure.
the evidence for the whole Kevin Spacey thing, that was pretty damning, right?
It was.
I never followed up on that.
I mean, we can talk about Kevin Spacey if we want to dive into that.
No.
But let's stay focused.
Let's try to stay focused.
I'm going to spray my venom at fucking Morrissey.
Right. Yeah, fuck Morrissey. And I didn't realize, I just knew his sort of anti-immigration stance.
Oh, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
But I didn't realize that his shittiness went that deep.
Yeah, rape apologist. Yeah, fuck Morrissey.
Yeah, going back to Kevin Spacey, I liked him as Hopper in Bug's Life. I wish he I wish he didn't do that thing that makes him a garbage human being.
Yeah.
And it just continues to concrete the never get to know anything about your heroes.
Just consume their creations in a vacuum and don't even...
Probably we all here can admit to being fans of David Bowie.
Right. Which is becoming harder and harder.
Yeah, I don't really dig on Bowie.
That's another conversation. But just
maybe we'll read a book he wrote later.
I don't want to.
He wrote books, but just not knowing the inner thoughts of creatives is becoming more and more difficult in the age of social media.
Right.
But yeah, Morrissey wrote, outside of his autobiography, he wrote one novel called List of the Lost, which wasn't well reviewed. It's very high on the kind of bad books lists that I troll into to find sausage for the grinder of brainworms.
And we thank you for doing that, because if you don't, then we just have to feed not Davids to the grinder.
It's true.
Wait, haven't you been feeding not Davids to the grinder anyway?
No, that's the furnace. It's completely different.
Oh, and I want to say thank you. Apparently someone decided that this time I deserved to have arms, hands, and fingers from the get-go. So
yeah, we're
been
thinking
exciting.
The more human that we make you, the more you'll feel like a real person, which might calm the angry, violent rages that you fly into.
Well, I mean, for the record, I've already uploaded my memory, and I've got the tube attached to my genitals right now, so that as soon as we're done with this episode, I can go crawl back into the furnace. And I've actually got... the last time I actually installed an on switch on the interior of the furnace that I can click myself.
Oh, that's convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, clever.
We need you to remember recording this episode, so you're going to need to re-upload your memories anyway. You've done yourself no favors.
God damn it.
Getting back on topic, NME called List of the Lost a confused, often quite embarrassing slab of cringeworthy sex cliches and bizarre stilted dialogue.
Oh, good.
The Guardian
I'm
called
excited.
it an unpolished turd.
Fuck you, Morrissey. Fuck you, Morrissey. An unpolished turd.
It's just so blunt. It's so unartful. Hey, real quick, do you guys remember the first time you made a Not David, and then it was such an atrocity that we sent it to Earth and they made a movie about it called Basket Case?
Did you time travel before you did this?
Don't dig into that. It's fine.
I'm just asking. It feels like there's some time travel involved here.
In a review for the Daily Beast, which is a publication I'm unfamiliar with, Nico Hines accused the book of being a bizarre, misogynistic ramble.
Oh my god, of course.
Oh, I'm excited.
So yeah, I'm pretty stoked. Apparently this book is written in a James Joyce style stream of consciousness.
Yes.
Oh, that's fun for me.
So yeah, this is going to be really exciting for everyone. But before we dig into that, we need to remind you about WeGiveYouBrainworms.com, which is the place where you can go to find all of our other projects and where you can support us monetarily through our Patreon.
And you have to remember, with the Patreon, we are metaphorical babies still covered in amniotic fluid, and we need your wallet nipples to feed on, or we'll die.
I don't know what that means.
But I'm simultaneously repulsed and aroused, and I like it.
Sure. What I can tell you with confidence is that your monetary donations help us make the show better, which it desperately needs. and also can net you some cool benefits. If that's of interest to you, feel free to jump into that. Does anybody have anything to add before we...
I think what we've discovered here is that it is a profoundly bad idea to attempt to make your living as a professional iconoclast, because you're always going to have to be an apologist for the shittiest of things when you turn into an old, irrelevant piece of shit.
Right.
What's an iconoclast?
Someone who stands alone and thinks of themselves as separate from and slightly better than the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so all of us.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm very aware that I'm just garbage. Just a pile of garbage.
We are but worms in your earth.
And in your brain.
And in your brain. Your earth brain.
Earth brain?
I just wanted there to be no confusion.
Right.
as to how I personally feel about Morrissey, and I wanted to have from his mouth, like quotes from him, to back up why I hate Morrissey and hope that he dies in a house fire.
Sure.
With all of his recorded works.
He also just sounds stupid.
He's old. His brain is just lettuce and cabbage at this point.
Well then, shall we?
I would say that Big Mouth struck again. I'm just saying.
Let's see what you did there.
Yeah. I hate him.
List of the Lost. Ezra, Nails, Harry, Justy. You dig hard and deep to excavate 4 names quite so unusual.
It's because you made them up.
Yet there they were, and there they stood, sounding exactly like what they were. You would be offered a hearty shake of the javelin hand as expressions of possession of command from the 4 boys, each one fully developed into the blissful torment of their turnabout 20th year.
Are these just discarded song lyrics that have been awkwardly glued together to form kind of sentences?
I would prefer the phrase put into a blender and then left for a day, returned tomorrow, and poured into a book.
I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that he dies in a house fire.
A pleasantly resolved marital union almost closed off in its camaraderie to the onlookers of the mookish greater world. Look at them now in their manful splendor and wonder how it is that they could possibly part this earth in dirt as creased corpses, falling back as the skeletons that we already are, yet hidden behind musculature that will fall in time at life's finishing line. At such an unavoidable call they shall be minus all that they now have herein today, at ease in the confidence of their physical weightlessness, united in athletic skill from which they beg no acquittal. Our 4 boys have no hidden disappointments, for they equally bear the gift of hip-to-ankle idolized speed. Their bodies calmly narcissistic, ass-to-the-grass instruments, commingled
what the fuck
to
is he
become,
talking about?
as they now knew they were, America's most sovereignly feared college relay team.
All right, stop.
Collaborate?
No,
And
wait,
listen.
hang on. Everyone stop. I just wait 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, now let's pretend that where David is about to pick up is the actual start of the book, and we'll see if that makes a difference.
I don't know, man. I kind of hope that Morrissey dies in a house fire.
Sure.
Let's just pretend this is the start. Go ahead, David.
With a unity that could send shivers through any braying jackass who might be fool enough to doubt them. The race begins, and their bodies reply in relay. Constantly responsible and on each other's watch, 4 bodies of one heart, never forgetting themselves as being one single reflection. Imperishable, they train insatiably. Companions in pleasure and passionate in sentiments, they are the living picture of their desired physique and the voluntary affection amongst friends that survives time. Beyond each other and their will to run, they seek no other distraction.
What's happening?
People magnetically attract others with similar weaknesses, as marriage rings the bell for the servile in hiding. Ezra, Nails, Harry, and Justy performed marital duties as joined by strengths, but not weaknesses, and this crowned their lives.
Okay, now, I think I know what he's trying to do here.
I don't. I am baffled by this.
I think they're in a polyamorous queer foursome.
Okay, I mean, I'm here for that, and that does
Sure.
make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I'm picking up here
Sure.
is like these 4 guys are really attractive relay runners, and they're not interested in anything but seeking the, companions and pleasure?
Mhm.
Voluntary affection amongst friends? Sure. So they're just like four dudes.
That's totally a Spartan mentality.
Yeah.
You just banging. It's not
Yeah,
even
you're,
gay.
you're
it's
just
something
my
you do.
buddy, and we fuck sometimes. It's fine.
Right. Yeah.
I kind of hope that the circumstances surrounding his expiration involves his domicile combusting.
I think I'm not speaking to the subject or his point, but I think what he, the
I don't
method.
know what his point is.
Yeah, neither do I. I think the
not sure
method
he
of what
does.
he's trying to do, I think what he's trying to do is trying to start with an ethereal concept and speak about it artfully, kind of get you into a mood, and then slowly compact it down further and further and further until we get like focused on the subjects of the book. But he's
Do you
not
think
doing
that
it well.
we're going to focus in, or do you think it's just going to be this fucking word puree for 100
I think what I
pages?
described is like the right way to do it, and he's failing to adhere to that.
Well, you described it as sort of a Joycean stream of consciousness, yeah?
Yeah.
So the thing about that is that I don't think it's going to change at all. It's just going to keep being this.
Uh-huh.
And I've tried on 4 separate occasions in my life to pick up and read the book Finnegan's Wake.
Mhm.
I can't.
Right.
That's a recognized classic, and it's impenetrable because of its style.
Mhm.
That sort of thing has to be done extremely well
Right.
in order for it to be readable,
Mhm.
comprehensible, pleasurable in
Mhm.
any way. This isn't.
No, I've not read
Yeah.
Finnegan's Wake. I did read Ulysses once and said that was an enjoyable time. I never want to read it again.
Yeah, I read Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man. That's about the only Joyce I can actually get through.
All right, real quick, not for me, because I know exactly who Joyce is, but just for the listeners, could you provide some context for this Joycean comment?
Oh, why don't you?
Well, because I could not do it nearly as artfully as you guys. You guys
No,
are much more
please educate the listeners.
Okay, well, Joyce Myers is a 700 Club.
James Joyce was an Irish author.
Yeah. A better version of what this book is trying to be.
I feel
Right.
like also Ray Bradbury could talk about nothing and I would still be zoned in. Like he could just be knitting and sewing words together and just making a tapestry about absolutely nothing. And I could still be sucked into it.
Unfortunately, this is not that book.
No, this isn't even Joyce.
They each saw the desirable object within each other, and combined, they had no cause to justify 1 second of their contract. It may be quite true that we unwisely reduce others in order to make them ours, yet here was a foursome to whom no outward event could dent flesh or expression. It should be said that they were indeed contracting parties, since their combined aim was to dispose of every other half-mile relay team on any known college campus across the land. And this they must do, biological chance providing all the damn straight confirmation that they would ever need.
Here's a tip to the listeners. Like, having ethereal language is not bad. You may want to include a grounding point from which the readers can observe the etherealness with context.
Like, I can't even make jokes about this because the sentences aren't thoughts.
So far, what I've discovered, what I've been able to glean from this, is that there are 4 guys and they run real good.
Yeah.
Which means they have nice butts.
Yeah. And they are committed to nothing but being 4 guys that run real good.
That have nice butts and maybe touch.
You know what this feels like to me?
Does it feel like he should let loose this mortal coil in a
I mean, he's old.
conflagration
He's not got long, I'm sure.
in his place of residence?
Do you remember, and Chris, you might not, those refrigerator magnets that were just words?
Oh, yeah.
And people would just kind of form them into sentences at a whim.
Yeah, it was magnetized poetry or whatever.
Yeah, those poetry magnets, yeah. This feels like a shitload. Just a fucking memorial wall of those refrigerator magnets that, like, you know, somebody would come in and grab a beer out of the fridge and rearrange the magnets a little bit. And that just happened for like a decade.
You know what really pisses me off?
That this
How
guy
Soon
isn't
Is
burning.
Now was such an amazing song for me.
It's a good song.
That song moved me.
Yeah. Oh,
Like-
yeah. That's what I mean. You know, like we talked about Ray Bradbury before, and he was just influential. But Morrissey, it's a goddamn betrayal.
Yes. I got stabbed in the fucking back.
I would argue that, I mean, he wrote the lyrics, which fair enough. Very little of what makes How Soon Is Now an amazing song is anything that Morrissey contributed to it.
I disagree.
The lyrics, certainly. but I don't feel like his singing is as important to the song as the instrumentation and the production and the TIE Fighter guitar sound that runs through it.
The cadence of his voice with what he's saying, if you take that out, the song's not terrible, but it loses most of its power.
I suppose.
I'm just saying that if we were to read on the internet tomorrow, right, that due to complications with Flame, Morrissey is pushing up daisies, I would be a happier person for it.
What if it was complications with a falling anvil?
No, it wouldn't.
Why is it that when you're alive, the term is putting down roots, and when you're dead, it's pushing up daisies?
Because they're metaphors that weren't meant to relate to each other.
But they do now.
They don't.
And now I'm cursing all of you with this
But
answer.
it's just a linguistic accident.
Yeah.
Because, Chris, we are all just worms in his earth.
Wait, what?
Don't question it. You're just worms in his earth. That's all.
I don't know what's going on.
Just want him to die in a house fire.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
By himself. I don't want anyone else hurt.
Going back to the Smiths and what made them so good, I don't think anyone can take away the power and what is good in Morrissey's voice. Like,
Sure.
he has an amazing voice.
Sure.
Had, potentially. I haven't heard him sing
Yeah, I haven't
recently,
heard anything he's recorded since like 2001.
But there's a reason why the Smiths was an incredibly effective band that became very popular, and Morrissey as a solo act did not.
Mm-hmm.
And that reason is Johnny Marr.
Fuck yes.
You can't have them separate. Like, it's Morrissey's sad boy moping lyrics and voice with the weirdly bouncy guitar that made the Smiths what they were. But that is separate from this book that we're trying to understand.
We are trying to avoid reading.
Can we just pirate a bunch of the Smiths records and just listen to those for 90 minutes and not do this?
I mean,
No.
I don't hate that idea.
I haven't listened to the Smiths since like, I think it was 2017 when he first started saying a bunch of garbage. And I was just like, wow, this is ruined for me. Like, I can't listen to Girlfriend in a Coma now.
Right.
He's a giant piece of shit.
Yeah, when I first started dating my now wife, she was not really a fan of the Smiths. She just didn't have any connection to them at all. And constant source of, like, we'd be in the car and I'd want to listen to something and I'd say, can we listen to the Smiths? And she would just not be in the mood. And eventually, like, shit that Morrissey was saying now started to come out. And it turns out I don't want to listen to the Smiths in the car anymore either. So thank you for being a dick, Stephen Morrissey. You possibly saved my marriage.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that opens up a whole other can of worms if the Smiths was the downfall of your marriage.
Oh, God. Imagine if you went into a bait shop and it was like crickets, worms, and there was a can just called brain worms.
I mean, I'd buy that for $1.
Yeah.
A month on
I'd probably
Patreon.
spend $3, actually.
Ah, yes. $3. $3 a month on Patreon.
Minimum.
Like, how do you get brain worms? Who would sell them? And even more disturbingly, who would buy them?
The answer to all of those questions and more can be found at WeGiveYouBrainworms.com.
It's true. God fucking damn it.
Man, I really hope that Morrissey dies in a house fire.
Should we try and drag our asses through some more of this book like a
I
dog
think we
with a
have
rectal
to.
disease?
It's what we do.
David, get in there. Do it.
Real quick, last thing I have to say before we go back in. We can either head back into the book, or we can like switch gears and stop being a book podcast and become a different kind of podcast.
No more books forever?
Yeah.
We talk about pop songs now.
List of the Lost, the book that beat us. You really want Morrissey to beat us? Is that what we are?
That's
Is that
fair.
who
That's
we
fair.
are?
No, we're not going to lose to List of the Lost.
We read Empress Teresa
We did.
multiple times.
Multiple chapters of Empress Teresa.
I was before I was created, so.
Yep.
We needed you after that.
You're like Vision in the Avengers. Like we need something better.
It is certainly something to dwell excitedly within a body that fully and proudly shows whatever the person is, since we all, for the most part, struggle in haunted fashion, unaware of ourselves as flesh.
You can't see it because this is radio, but I'm making the jerking off motion as hard as I can.
Looking at a future that does not show promise, or back at a past that couldn't provide any, and permanently petrified at passing through without ever having lived. Undeveloped at 20 years, indecent thoughts at 30 years, the insoluble 40 points to psychosomatic 50 when moral inhibitions begin to laugh at the thought of further hope.
God damn it.
Joe, I'm gonna join you in the jerk-off motion. We're gonna keep doing it. I'll tell you when I stop.
Okay.
It's just so... First of all, he's not really breaking any new ground
No,
here.
none
He's
of these are
saying,
original thoughts.
Look, when you're young, you have thoughts, and you can't really express them, and then you get older, and you begin to get afraid of your own mortality. Great, and fine, and it doesn't make you smart to hide your thoughts behind impenetrable language.
Yeah, because again, this is just fucking chicken soup for the soul, fucking middle of the road songwriter bullshit. And he's just building this wall of, I'm a literary genius now, around it.
These aren't bad things to point out or have in your writing, but what is it serving?
Yeah, what's the
point?
point?
Get to it. Because if the point is you just making it, yeah, welcome to philosophy, man.
Yeah.
Go to college.
Yeah, smoke some weed and talk to your buddies.
Exactly.
Because it's not interesting in a book.
The years pass as quickly as the sentence that describes their speed.
Oh my god.
Yet you cannot believe
that
it
a little bit.
until you very suddenly look behind you and see a space once relied upon as being the future. The years start coming, and they don't stop coming.
And they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming, and they don't stop coming.
So much to do. So much to say. Age sets its own terms, with its growing servitude catching that haunted reflection. One of no distinction, because your frown now belongs to time. The wide-eyed girls were many, offering their conscious will as the running boys turned into overlords. Strangers to the crowd, yet well known in its imagination as the erotic reality of the deltoid deities who have no inhibitions in bodies fully occupied and enjoyed.
I am now doing double jerk-off because one wasn't enough.
The crowds look on with a lascivious dependency that a knife to the throat would never force them to admit. In servitude is the watcher, asking of the doer that he assumes all aspects of the watcher's desire. The body is a thing only, of which we all irrationally fear, how to control that which controls us. Heatedly, the four gather daily, minus booze and taboos, free of the prohibitions that dishonor us all should we dare remark upon each other's physical good fortune.
Is he validating his alcoholism?
I don't know where you got that.
Like he said, like sans prohibition. These are things that harm us all.
Prohibition doesn't just mean prohibition of alcohol.
It just means being told not to do something.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my mistake.
You're right.
Sorry.
That's how we learn.
And lucky are those who might be remarked upon. We simply are not allowed to say. We employ sexual indifference as we gather in groups, schooled, as we are, against eroticisms, and any sudden desire registers as tension should our overtrained prejudices nap, whilst our constitutional frigidity catches us looking.
All right, kids. Morrissey is going to explain the complexities of sexuality. Pull up your chair. We're all gonna learn.
This book is so horny. Isn't this only like the second page?
Yeah.
What? It feels like the fifth.
Feels like forever.
Feels like the first time.
My arms are getting tired. Keep going, please.
Or even worse, allowing ourselves to be looked at. Did you ever compliment a friend, a mere friend, on the directed desire of their eyes?
Normalize telling your friends they're handsome.
Is he talking to the readers now? Like, we've
He is.
abandoned this
He has to
narrative
be.
about the runners?
Yeah, I mean, who else could he possibly be talking to?
Sometimes when good authors want to do that, they'll
Mhm.
express those thoughts that the writer wants to express to the reader by having characters
Nope, we're
interact with those ideas.
We're just gonna fuck a hole in the fourth wall. But no, and specifically to our male listeners, if your friend is looking handsome, just fucking tell him. It's fine.
Yeah.
If your
Yeah, it's
friend's looking
cool.
just give him a hand job.
I mean, if you want to, and if they're
And
into it,
they're
sure.
into it, yeah.
Yeah.
Normalize handies between friends.
Normalize friendly hand jobs, sure. But even, putting that aside, if your friend looks nice, let them know. It's fine.
It's cool to just tell people they look good.
Yeah.
I am really wondering, like, what he's trying to get, because I'm genuinely not sure if what he's building at here is there are these 4 boys and they like to fuck a lot of girls,
Mm-hmm.
or there are these 4 boys and they like to fuck a lot of each other.
Yeah, I'm.
Like, I can't tell.
Yeah, I can't get a beat on that either.
And I mean, whatever. I guess it doesn't matter.
But what is he saying?
But like he goes into this whole thing about how they just need each other and no other distractions.
Sure.
And now he's talking about how friends don't say things about how their friends are attractive because that's taboo. And
Mhm.
did you really just contradict yourself?
Right.
What are we hearing here?
Tell a story or write a book that's just your personal thoughts. Do one or the other, not both.
Yeah, absolutely that.
Did you ever compliment a friend, a mere friend, on the directed desire of their eyes?
Yep.
Of course you didn't.
Hey, man, you got a nice dick.
Or on their sexually agreeable smile? Of course you wouldn't. Or on their
I've done that.
hands, whose touch certainly does something as the waft of their passing being triggers unsuspecting impulses within unsuspecting you? The will to find all of these motions in others runs strong in our being, yet we must only ever observe without acting, and even the very words that are in themselves a form of action must never be said.
What
Says
is
you,
he
buddy.
saying? Yeah, what
I
the
tell
fuck?
I have and will continue to tell my friends all the time that I find them attractive.
Yeah.
And if it's someone that I want to fuck, I will be straight up with them. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yo, we should probably fuck sometime.
David, remember that picture you posted on Facebook where you're like, I could see why my friends might call me attractive?
Yes.
Yeah, you look like a very young, handsome Gandalf.
Oh, awesome. You shall not make a pass.
Woo!
We can't get better than that. Get back to the book.
Right. Day after day, year after year, we observe without operating.
Day after
Whilst
day,
the-
love turns gray.
Whilst, mind you, not whilst.
Of course.
Whilst the fact that we are only allowed to observe makes the will run and rise all the stronger.
Is he just
Worth
talking
is
about
derived from
his-
approval.
oppressed homosexuality?
I'm pretty sure that's entirely what this is.
Yeah.
I like.
Like, dude, just like if you want to talk about your experiences with that and how society has oppressed your sexuality, just write a book about that.
Yeah. This, don't hide it under this pretentious fucking, I guess, story about 4K runners or whatever the fuck.
Oh my god, we need to get to their dialogue, because how much do you want to bet it's going to be the most unsubtle homoerotic stuff?
I'm really excited to see if he uses quotation marks.
Well, let's keep moving here.
Yep.
Okay, I had to stop. My elbow started hurting.
Worth is derived from approval, yet we discount the importance of our will to appreciate others because it is said to be a nothingness, or unwanted, or dangerously unsuspected. Yet, if I feel it, so must you, for it is you who made me feel so.
That's a creepy thing to say, but all right.
That's very rapey.
Yeah.
Yeah, go figure. Die in a
Oh,
house fire,
man.
Morrissey.
Yep.
Otherwise, what is it that is there for either of us to catch? Electrons from me need electrons from you
What is
in
this?
order
What
to become
bullshit?
electrons.
No, you're talking about biological mating imperatives, dude.
I'm just going to repeat that sentence.
Do please.
Electrons from me need electrons from you in order to become electrons.
There is a video game that Chris is familiar with, and you might be too, called Assassin's Creed, right?
Oh, yeah.
And the core premise is that your genes carry the memories of your ancestors, and those memories can be accessed electronically. That is less bullshit than that fucking sentence.
Yes.
Yeah. And in this sentence, these couple of sentences, Morrissey seems to be right here saying, if I'm attracted to you, it's only because I'm subconsciously or on an electron level and a subatomic level picking up the "you want me to" vibe.
I hate this.
Wait. If that is true, then where does the initial attraction come from if your attraction to the other person is dependent on their attraction to you? Doesn't that also imply that their attraction to you is dependent on your attraction to them? So where is the quantum?
Clearly, yeah. The thing is, if you feel attracted to someone else, they obviously are attracted to you. They're just not being honest about it with themselves, right? Right? Is that it? Is that it, Steven?
And you gotta help them come to terms with their attraction for you by putting a little thing in their bar drink, and it'll just make the truth come out, man.
I hate this.
Let's keep going.
Yet there they are, and still you say nothing whilst always knowing. Look at the blue of the sky, and tell me why you held back. Did you think there would be one day a bluer sky and a better hour?
I kind
of
like
that
notion.
What did you think before you were aware? Ah, Morrissey.
Yeah, if that weren't couched in rapiness, which it is.
Yeah, it is.
And it were just musing on like the one that got away, or the will they won't they kind of lost loves that were never, that would have been an interesting thought.
Yeah,
the bluer sky.
There is something to think of there, in terms of if you are interested in someone, go and tell them there will never be a better time.
Don't wait for the perfect moment. Yeah,
exactly.
There would be value there in a different context.
Our four favorite athletes have the task of relaying in relay, and can therefore knock aside bothersome border boundaries as they guard each other's bodies as if all amounted to just the one.
Oh, relaying is going to be an analogy for something, isn't it?
Their success depends upon the communal goal, the spring in 8 legs, the combined methodology of 4 minds, and the maintained perfection of 4 physical frames. 4 wheels of the one machine. It is not possible to have any purpose other than the solvent fixity of openness and sharing. They contemplate each other's nature and structure, but not as a grasp on the sensual, since, amongst other thoughts, there is a job to be done, a job almost as old as reading, one which fades faster than it blooms, batting away the decline that rots in life, a decline that must always win no matter how much you jog yourself into a head spin. Second by second, the body is ponderable in any reflective surface.
Was that the book that said ponderable 4 times, or was that...
No, that's literally second by second, the body is ponderable in any reflective surface.
Cool.
Here and there's some nice musings about the fleetingness of youth and stuff that aren't bad.
Just listen to the song Jack and Diane by Jonathan Cougar Mellencamp. Expresses all of these sentiments 1,000 times better
and more efficiently.
Chili dog outside the taste of freeze.
And is a bop.
In a pleasing suburb of the city of Boston, with its splendiferous stockbroker hamlets and bedroom communities of wide, tree-lined streets and pleasing market town urbanization, the life-sized puppet features of Mr. Rims glare his magnified fish countenance. As the boy's training coach, his briefing guru gestures might seem to warrant large pinches of salt, for he provides entertainment in amongst the boot camp intolerance of his sharpening up chalk talk. He is easy fun, but with a resounding thud in his go-for-the-throat launching attack, he mocks the boys as pudgy girls, and he assures them that whatever they do shall never get in the way of proper sprinters.
That's toxic masculinity right there.
Eye of Argon made more sense than this.
So real quick.
Yeah.
Oh, there are quotes.
Oh, amazing.
Is there any suggestion that Morrissey's going to die in a house fire?
No.
Okay, I was just checking.
But there is some risk of him being hit by falling anvils.
How is that a thing?
Acme had a sale.
Yeah.
Have you been launching with catapults? Fucking.
I found a guy on Fiverr who will just drop anvils on your enemies. We're in negotiations.
All right, cool. I'll throw in. I don't have any money, but I could give him pieces of me.
That's got to be worth $5.
Yeah.
We are manufacturing anvils on the moon, and we are occasionally just ejecting them retro orbit so that they'll land on the Earth at some point, and we're just hoping that it lands on Mars. Now, so if you get an anvil in your yard,
we didn't do it.
Yeah, no, it wasn't us. That was a joke I just said. That was not an admission of guilt, and you can't prove that, officer.
An anvil from the moon would fuck up Earth real good.
It would fuck up the Hubble space station real nice.
It would not, actually.
If it survived, I mean...
If it
like,
survived re-entry.
Yeah.
Which it totally would.
Probably. It's pretty heavy steel, but there would be a big boom.
Not really.
Yes.
The atmosphere. No, it
really.
would. The atmosphere would slow it down significantly before it impacted.
It would still be an anvil, though.
Yeah, for the kind of impacts that you're thinking of, what you're thinking of is not something deorbiting, but something directly impacting with Earth. Deorbiting is like a long process, whereas like an asteroid.
Yeah, and if we launched an anvil from our moon base, it would
Retro
not
orbit.
be deorbiting. It would be directly on a path of occlusion with the Earth.
Oh,
where
so like
it would
you
impact.
mean like firing it out of
They
a
are just
rail
drifting
gun.
in space.
Not even a
Yeah.
rail gun. You could just lob it.
It's not like the wind is going to knock it off course.
David, I'm sorry to say this, but you need to play some Kerbal Space Program.
David would love Kerbal.
I probably would. I have no idea what that is, but I'll look into it.
You should.
It would be nice if you took yourselves seriously once in a while, he tells the boys as their punishing daily dozen drops each to the ground as if unable to do anything right. But then, we don't want to seem too pleased with ourselves, he mumbles whilst looking away. Ambition exceeding grasp and all of that. The boys of summer glare almost hatefully at the Sunday track, and the tryouts begin once more. Ezra is the lead-off man. Twitch, twitch, twitching, that all is in place. Spikes, toes, elasticated waistband, everything comfortably arranged at the groin, and clear vision ahead with the right grip on the baton. Firm, yet ready to loosen. Mr. Rim's starting pistol jumps in his hand as it fires, and the other hand clicks a shiny stopwatch as Ezra takes flight. All schoolboy soul passing perfectly to do or die nails, licked into shape to hand over to Harry, whose big leaguer grit finds Anchorman Justy, the bull of the woods whose shafts of speed leave sparks across the finishing line.
This is fascinating.
Huffing and breathless, they then gather, facing Mr. Rims for confirmation of something. Funeral pace, Rims chews, feigning disinterest. I could have walked in the time you took to run. This isn't true, of course, but such sorry butt put-downs are thought to sharpen self-respect.
By who?
This is dumb.
This is the worst.
This is, like, just, God, this is bad.
Yup.
So Morrissey thinks that his personal road of self-development is the same road that every person on the Earth experiences and travels, and he has no concept of alternate perspectives.
Yes, he's a straight white man.
Well, I mean, if you consider, at least partially consider, that he might die in a house fire.
I'm not saying he will or he won't. I'm just
There's
saying
always that chance.
somebody out there probably has some kerosene. What?
Thanks,
I
David.
don't care about relay racing.
Yeah, it's like
But it's a metaphor.
compounded
you see.
on
It's a
little I care about
metaphor.
Morrissey.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Which is honestly what this book is about. This premise of, it's about these athletes is just a thin layer of grease over the top of just Morrissey telling you what he thinks about stuff.
Yeah, like I hate Morrissey. All right, that's how I care about Morrissey. Is I hate
David.
Morrissey.
What page number are we
And
on?
If
I think
we
like
take
3.
the fact that I hate him and want him to die in a house fire, right?
Yes.
If we take that and we add a terrible, terrible book that he's written, what we get out of that is blind rage. That's
Sure.
what I've got right
This
now.
is going to be a weird episode.
So we're on page 3, and here's what we've got.
Yes.
A college, 4 relay guys, and they're sexy.
Yep.
Now please do something with that.
Maybe they fuck each other. Maybe they just have a suppressed urge to fuck each other. We're not sure.
And also, I'm assuming at some point, our friend Morrissey is going to attempt to cobble together some kind of meaningful metaphor out of the fact that they are relay racers.
I hope it's for relaying protein material into orifices.
Boom.
We've done about 45 minutes of content. Do we want to stop here?
Please.
Do we have to keep going at all? We should just scrap this episode.
We've recorded it, and I do think because we only read about 3 pages.
Yeah, it's 3 pages, 2 minutes.
I would like to at least finish a chapter or get to it.
Absolutely not.
Look, I'm contractually obligated.
You're contractually obligated to shut the fuck up. We're not doing it. Fuck this. No. I'm out. I'm getting into the furnace right now. Fuck you guys. Fuck this podcast. And more than anything else, fuck Morrissey. I hope you die in a house fire.
You know, Kaine, you wish death on Morrissey. Is that really the worst fate, though? Like, what if he just lived forever and continued to age?
No.
And just became more and more decrepit and...
You know what? I hope that Morrissey dies, and then I hope that Alex Jones follows after him.
That's fair.
They don't have to die in that order.
What if their deaths had a domino effect so that when one died, like, that caused the next one to die?
They typically do come in 3s, you know? So
Yeah, that's the thing.
And I mean, like, definitely, I grew up listening to Morrissey, whatever, lots of complicated feelings about the person.
Yeah, especially now. The shit that Kaine unearthed is kind of game-changing in that way.
But I do not want him to have lichdom. Like, wizened, old, ancient Morrissey is not something anyone should have to experience.
Exactly. House fire.
Right. I mean, if anything, that's kind of like one of the very few actual meanings that you can take out of this project that we're doing is that sometimes you can separate an artist's work from an artist's personality and things that they believe.
When they're dead.
Yeah, well, I mean, death of the
Until they're
artist.
dead, don't buy the Smith stuff. Don't buy Morrissey stuff. Fuck that guy. After he dies, only download his stuff. Steal it off the internet. If you want to consume it. I can't even listen to the Smiths anymore. I can't do it. I hate him so much and how his words have hurt so many people. I can't even gain enjoyment listening to his music anymore. That's how much I hate him.
My God. Oh my God. Guys, who gave Kaine the torch and pitchfork? Oh my God, he's waving it around. Whoa, Kaine, careful with that.
He's got a point, though.
He does.
3 of them.
He's not nice.
All right, I'm getting into the furnace. Fuck you guys.
Yeah. Quick reminder, we give you brainworms.com. It's where you can it always kind of sounds like com when I say .com. Yeah, we give you brainworms.com where you can find our Patreon, you can find our other projects. Don't forget, if you can't support the show in a monetary way, please recommend us to your friends or your enemies if you hate them. I can definitely see this show working as some kind of bizarre punishment.
I mean, it's a psyop. I'm not sure on who, but it's a psyop.
But definitely tell a buddy, bring a friend about Brainworms. And if you're a YouTube listener, like, subscribe, click the follow bell. Thank you for listening, and we're really sorry for what we just did.
Really sorry.
Yeah. We've all made mistakes.
This has been a production of Brainworms Presents. Any copyrighted content contained within is used for purposes of review. Brainworms Podcast is David Combs, Kaine Magdalen, Christian Schaefer, and Joseph Wells. The theme music is Hodgepod Number 1 by Brian Davis. If you like what you heard, you can support us and learn about our other projects at WeGiveYouBrainworms.com or by leaving a review on your favorite listening app. Sucking on chili dog outside the tasty freeze.
You're contractually obligated to shut the fuck up.